Close. Low.
It's like being a child and playing. You getting to tie your aeroplane to another aeroplane. You trying to get the rope taut before you put too much strain in it. You're talking to each other.
Echo November, good. Will you tell me when the rope is nearly taut?
Copy, will do, sir.
You know, one person is organising the rope, you're sitting in your aeroplane, the glider pilot's in his aeroplane, someone else is holding the wing up, somebody else is taking the wheel, which is bolted onto the wing effectively until the last moment off, and then, you know, off you go.
Stand by.
Standing by.
All out, all out.
Okay, rolling. Thanks for India. Let's see.
There's just a lot going on. I mean, you don't really want to be a new pilot trying to work out, you know, how the airspace works, who's saying what, who is where. You know, you need to be pretty much at one with the aircraft. In memory of Helli Lasch, the Oppenheimer family have arranged an event which takes place every 2 years on their absolutely gorgeous game farm in the Northern Cape. I think it's 160,000 hectares of gorgeous, gorgeous property with kind of African game on it. And they host an event, all expenses paid, in this incredible farm in what is also, by kind of chance, one of the world's best gliding areas. You know, it's a little bit like tugging a motor car. You want to keep just the right tension in the rope. You don't want this kind of scenario where it's jerking, coming taut, catching up again. And then, of course, you're looking for the thermal. And so, you know, you may think the thermal's over here. He's a glider pilot, he thinks it's over there. Now there's a debate going on.
So actual altitude's 5,600 feet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, assuming I got the Q&As right at the beginning, but it'll probably be close as damn it.
Thank you.
Gotcha. Turning right.
You know, once the glider is released, you've got a rope hanging behind the aeroplane, but I think they're about 60 meters or so, and you'll fly over the field, drop the rope, and then go and land. But when you're doing recurrent glider tugs, bunch of gliders that all need to be off the ground in as small a time as possible just before the competition starts. You want to get down and get the rope back to the optimal spot as quickly as you can. We had 2 tugs at Tswalu, and typically what it means is that you've got lined up on the runway, you know, something between 10 and 100 gliders, depending. We had, I think, 13 gliders being operated daily at Tswalu. So you'll have them on the runway, and then you need to land downwind with a 60-meter rope hanging out the back of the aeroplane on the runway, stop before you get to the gliders, turn just in front of the gliders, let them hitch up, take up the slack, and then go again.
What's that pitch angle now about?
Probably 40 degrees, I'd guess. The pitch angle is probably 25 degrees, 40 degrees on the roll.
That is such an epic sight.
I know, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just beautiful.
Landscape, everything.
Yeah. Do lacquer South African products as well, you know?
Yeah.
You've got to watch out. They're quite difficult to see often, these like thin white shapes. There's an element of gliding that is almost as much art as it is science, you know? There's a feel. And these guys just get such a wonderful sense of the atmosphere and the environment, how it works, where it's optimal to be. And for me, it was an incredibly steep learning curve to get to fly with these guys, to tug them, to talk to them, to listen to all the briefings, and so on. Typically on one of the days in Tswalu, these guys will be flying for 3 hours at 150 kilometers an hour average. When they put the nose down, they go 250 kilometers an hour. But if you're averaging 150 kilometers an hour for 3 hours, the guy's flying 450 kilometers, you know, which is here to Durban, pretty much. And this aircraft, which I release at 2,000 feet above the ground, flies 450 kilometers, it weighs a ton, and it comes back and lands at exactly the same place. That's just mind-boggling to me. In fact, you'd struggle to do that in a sling, burning gas, you know. For purposes of this event, actually took a 915 Rotax engine, which is a 141 horsepower engine, banged it on the front of our Sling 2 aeroplane, and it makes literally a glorious tug aircraft because there's just so much additional power. We also took along our Sling 4 TSI, which has a 916 IS Rotax motor, and that's 160 horsepower. And as a week of tugging in the Sling 4 TSI, our one Zulu uniform, Tango Sierra India demonstrated to me, it also now makes an absolutely wonderful tug aeroplane, which will tug any glider, you know, eyeballs flattened to the back of your eye sockets off the runway. And we were typically tugging to 8,000 or 9,000 feet, so we started quite high, often, out of Tswalu. But the density altitude probably 10, 11,000 feet because it's so hot. So a Sling 4 TSI with a 916 IS engine, or a Sling 2 with either a 914 UL engine or a 915 or 916 engine, is just an impeccable tug aircraft.